Welcome to the Forged in Fire podcast. Meet your hosts, Nate Farmer Eden, co-founder and CEO of Eden Capital, dedicated to achieving financial independence for his community, and Cole Farrell, founder and CEO of Vulcan Capital, a real estate expert with a passion for empowering others through education. Stay tuned for another episode right here on Forged in Fire.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Forged in Fire. I am your co-host, Nate Farmer Eden. However, today, Cole is actually out. He sent me a message. He's like, bro, I'm going on vacation. I'm gone. You got it. So y'all got just me today, but it's okay because it's balanced out because I have an amazing guest coming up. Eddie, he is phenomenal. This actually flows into part two. Remember, on part one was when we had the opportunity to introduce and talk to Frank, who is a member of DEP. Now we get part two where we get to talk to Eddie. So before we fully dive in, let's do some housekeeping. Number one, please make sure that you leave us a rating and review. It helps us grow. Also share this amongst your loved ones, share it to your friends, put it all over social media. We want to grow our audience. We also want to make sure that we are inspiring and educating everybody else that's out there. Number two, make sure that once you hit that subscribe button, you make sure that bell is then checked. So that way, anytime a new episode drops, you will be the first to be alerted to do so. And then number three, buckle up because this is going to be a hell of a ride. All right. So without further ado, we have Eddie, who is coming on stage right now. As I mentioned, this is the part two to our three-part series where we interview DEP and all the amazing work they've got going on. So Eddie, come on stage, brother. How we doing, sir?
We're doing well as we can with this weather.
Oh, bro. We chopped it up a little bit offline, man. It's like -12 outside.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was so cold, even my dogs wanted to come back in.
Oh, yeah. Man, but we're going to get through it, right?
Oh, yes. Just like how we do.
That's it, man. So please, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. What got you here? What brought you here?
Yeah, definitely. And I want to start off by saying it's a pleasure and thankful for this opportunity for having me on your podcast. We miss Cole, but we speak every week, every so often, every couple of days. Yesterday, so again, just pleasure just being here. My name is Eddie Esparza. So a little bit about me: I'm a real estate investor, and I'm the co-founder and CIO of Diversified Equity Partners. So we help professionals achieve financial freedom through real estate investments. I've been in real estate for a little over a decade now. And when people ask me how I got started in real estate, I tell them I was born into it. My father had a portfolio of properties. Best way to keep two young boys, my brother and I, busy were to start us off in demolition. So it was fun, kind of breaking drywall, ripping through stuff, breaking things. As soon as we grew up and started kind of understanding a little bit more of the trade, is when we started kind of helping them with the renovations, understanding the construction side, managing, other contractors, and then went up to a point where I started kind of managing investments and understanding a little bit more of the different parts of the neighborhood here in Chicago. So that really set my foundation for just real estate. The plan was every so often buy a property and continue adding to the portfolio, refinance later. And a lot of things happened throughout my professional career that really kind of changed my view of what I wanted to do. I always knew that I wanted to do more. I just didn't know exactly what. COVID came around, and as soon as so at this point, already a little bit more kind of hands-on, looking for another property. COVID, the pandemic happened. It got very difficult as far as just getting another property for the price that we're looking for, because everything was numbers based. Fortunately, during that time, along with a lot of other people, got laid off. And I put in, I think, about 7, 8 years there, top performer. And I just thought to myself, if I was able to go that quickly with all of the work and dedication, that I put into, my professional career. What's not to say that it can't happen again. So that's really what things kind of started changing and started heading down more into kind of owning. I own the real estate properties, but owning an actual business. And I think God aligned everything, and shortly after started networking. Joined a mastermind specifically for multifamily, commercial multifamily, and then been running through that ever since. So when there's an obstacle, I don't take a look at it in that specific way. Uh, I don't believe in obstacles. I believe in opportunities.
Holy cow, brother. I love it. I love it. I love it, dude. So take me back just a little bit.
Yes,
When you
sir.
initially got started, and I love the fact that you said that you were born into real estate. So I want to dive into that. And then, of course, I want to talk more about the commercial aspect of things as well. But how did all of that sort of come around? So you were working for your father with your brother, and he already understood the burst strategy. And so you guys would go in, buy a property. And then how did that then switch to you gaining ownership inside of it? Because it sounds like already that legacy was already instilled in you to be able to start passing it down. So at what point did you guys sort of bridge the gap and be able to bring you on as a partner? Talk to a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So my dad's old school. He's very traditional. Along with my uncle. So I have a lot of family members in real estate, investors, contractors, Asians, and um, it's funny that I have a stronger relationship with my uncles, and I do a couple of my cousins on that side of the family from my father's side. I just love to talk real estate and pick their brain, and they've been in it for just years, right? My uncle was able to retire 10 years early just through real estate. So, yeah, shout out to him. So, yeah, there was a lot of what I've kind of learned through family, and then a lot more of what I kind of just did on my own and researching and networking. So the plan and how I kind of was brought up into it was, look for a pretty good, obviously a good deal, good property. My father has only bought, aside from one single family, there were either duplexes, triplex, fourplex. The largest was a 5 unit. um, so started kind of learning through through him, how he kind of operated, and then just taking my skill set and my knowledge from my professional career in sales, project management, just business operations. I saw how do we kind of streamline this? How do we kind of shortcut that kind of waiting period between properties? And really it was to add a property a year or every 2 years. For me, I wanted my money to work, and I didn't want to have to put in so much money either. So I'm able to acquire multiple properties opposed to, hey, I'm buying this one cash. I have one property and then I'm sitting on it for the next 5, 10 years, whatever that time period is, and then having to buy another one. So that's when I started learning more about just refinances and refinancing in general, and a lot of different kind of programs, um, taking a look at construction loans. How do I use leverage for my um, how do I use leverage to scale faster? Just in my culture and in my family, debt is uh, is a con. We don't talk about taking out loans. We talk about paying cash. We talk about interest rates. I'm not paying any interest, um, and that's how I grew up. So it was a lot of learning. It was a lot of kind of changing my mindset and understanding the bigger picture. I'll pay a 7, 8, 10% interest rate if my rate of return is 20 plus. I still have a good chunk, and that's how I kind of take a look at it, opposed to I'm not trying to pay anything, but then I'm not in anything either.
Bro, again, I'm probably going to say this the entire time, but man, I love this so much. So it sounds like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but from listening to your story, it seemed as though your father strategically brought you in, taught you the demo part, and then from your corporate job and learning the skill sets behind management, the fundamentals behind systems, and the analytical side of things, you were able to then take it back and just say, hey, I can see the vision that you're painting, and I might be able to implement some of these strategies that I've learned to be able to help streamline us so we can move faster and work a little bit more efficiently. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, hats off to you, man. That is huge. Okay. So now let's fast forward a little bit. So now you had that mindset shift. Instead of saying no interest, not touching it, paying cash for everything, we're going to walk in, we're going to own this asset outright, not even going to talk to the bank. Now you're like, heck, bank and I are partners. We're going to go ahead, we're going to leverage this, and we're going to figure out how we can go ahead and bring more folks in. So what does the vision look like now for you in terms of you and your partners? And so many questions I want to ask. What does the vision look like now, and what roles are you guys playing within DEP, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll fast forward a little bit. You know, left off when COVID came around, and I'll kind of close the loop and then answer your question here. So the pandemic happened, life events happened, joined a mastermind, and I said, hey, this is it. You know, real estate has always, to me, at that point in time, it was, you know, I don't want to particularly say a side hustle, but it wasn't the main focus on business. Um, when I started kind of piecing the dots together, started talking to more people, networking, talking more of partnership opposed to competitors, I saw that we can go faster, we can go further. So then at that point, joined in multifamily syndication, partnered with Frank and Willie. So all three of us are co-founders in Diversified Equity Partners. We have Willie, who's our Chief Growth Officer. So he focuses mainly on investor relations, building the right connections. Anyone that you ask, they might know Willie or might have heard of Willie. It just seems like everyone knows Willie. And it's funny, I'll tell you a funny story here about Willie. The first time that we actually went to a conference together and we actually met in person, this is probably 3 years ago or so. He had told us that he was introvert, and I'm like, okay, he's kind of like to himself, very he just watches, right, and he kind of waits for the right time to ask the right question, very strategic. So we had a 3-day conference. He mentioned he's introvert. By the second day, we're walking down the hall and everyone's saying, hey Willie, how's your morning? How are you? And everyone's talking to Willie. Everyone wants to talk to Willie. I'm like, you lie to me. You're not an introvert. Everyone knows you. Like, how do you make that possible? But everything that he brings is building the relationship,
Oh, I love it.
building the partnership, and then providing value. So that's his strength. We have Frank as the chief investment officer. He's our main underwriter, main numbers guy, and he's actually joined other masterminds as well. One specifically for underwriting, and he just loves crunching the numbers, kind of poking holes through everything. So any properties that or any opportunities that come our way, he underwrites them. He already has a strategic process, so he knows how much time to invest in any opportunity that lands on our table. He's also leads our external relations, so specifically with other operators, other investors, and then just kind of finding new partnership opportunities. And then myself, I'm the chief information officer. So a lot of the kind of back end business processes, SOPs, a lot of our automation, more of the strategic kind of outlook, as well as helping, our main focus, and that's helping busy professionals invest passively, not becoming a landlord. This is true passive income and creating generational wealth.
Bro, I love the breakdown. And I love the fact that you guys, the three of you, have so uh, defined and refined roles. Like everybody plays their own position, but when the three of you come to the table or jump on a call together, everybody like brings so much value that just knowing you guys for the last year, it's just amazing to watch the growth, amazing to be able to see you guys on social media, watching a lot of the things. For those that are not listening or those that are out there listening and they're doing a webinar tonight, make sure that y'all tune in. I'm excited to be able to learn a little bit more of underwriting and getting into their mindset. So just shameless plug, they're out here crushing it. So talk to me just a little bit more about um, some of the trials and tribulations, a little bit of the struggles that you had to go through. And we can play this in a couple of different directions. One, it could be from having that mindset shift from 5 units or less and just working with family to jumping into the mastermind and now growing with folks that you didn't grow up with. Family you've known forever. These folks establishing that kind of partnership and that kind of trust to what it looks like now trying to talk to investors. You can take it in whatever different direction or all directions. Brother, floor is yours.
Oh man, that's a great question, and I have so much to say. So let me see. With the sake of time, let's start off with just the business. Excuse me, trying to fight a cold over here. Um, let's head towards diversified equity partners in our journey. We just had a similar conversation actually yesterday with a potential investor who wants to, get to the position that we're in. Um, Starting off, where we were taught to go find the property, submit a bunch of LOIs or offers, in other words, and then you have the deal. Everything else is going to fall in place. Don't listen to that. Someone tells you that, that's horrible advice. Horrible.
Run. Do not. That is,
Yes,
yeah.
you're going to be super stressed. So that's the direction that we, not knowing any better in that point of our time and in the business, that's what we started doing. We started talking with brokers. We started building relationships in several markets, pinpointing a specific market, doing all this work just to say, hey, this might not be our market, or we might have missed the mark. Um, what else? Underwriting a bunch of different properties. At that point, we're still trying to understand how to find the right property or the best property, where not to spend our time. And we really started off just, we got to a point where we're submitting a handful of LOIs on a weekly basis. Seems like nothing was hitting. And we just kind of took a step back and we said, hey, um, how do we change what we're doing? Because I see a lot of work. We're investing a lot of time, but we're not producing any results. So how do we take this time and effort into something else that is going to at least get the ball moving? We established some great relationships. We've gotten to a point where almost went to best and final on a property. We just kind of just crumbled to the lack of resources and processes that we had. So we needed to think about this more of a business opposed to just buying a property. Hence all the automation and processes that we have in now. So if something fails, is we need to determine whether it's an actual process or it's a person, right? Or it's one of us, to kind of pinpoint the root of cause. So to kind of talk through just how we pivot and a lot of changes. We went from submitting a handful of of LOIs and talking to brokers on a daily basis, um, and we just said, how do we make this? How do we get results? And I think God heard us. He brought an opportunity with our team in Dallas, that we've been kind of nurturing that relationship for about a year or so. And they said, hey, we have an opportunity for this property that we're going to acquire. Um, the help that we need is raising capital. So at that point in time, I was talking to brokers. Frank was our main underwriting person. And then we had Willie, he was our capital raiser. So we had a little bit of capital. We had a few investors, and we said, "Hey, let's hit this hard. All three of us, let's just start raising capital." Um, and yeah, we fell on our faces multiple times. So it was like from it was like, hey, today we say, hey, we're gonna raise capital. We started doing it that day. So it was like, how much time of it, or how much experience have you had raising capital? Like 4 hours. That was our focus. That's how quickly we pivoted. We hit the raise. We're able to get into property in Dallas, 133 units, and we said, hey, we were able to see things from behind the curtain. Um, you know, being outside, we're submitting offers. We're saying, hey, this is we're hitting what you're asking for, right? But once we started kind of taking a look behind the curtain, then we started realizing the offer doesn't mean as much. It's what you can bring aside from the offer and the experience in the team. Um, and we saw that firsthand. So that property, uh, that we're partners on and we closed on, had gone to market for 15 mil. Um, they weren't able to close. Went back on the market. I believe there were a few other offers around 14, 14 and a half, high 13s, and ultimately our team closed just because they had that track record and that relationship built with the broker. They've closed numerous other deals and ultimately closed on that property for 13 mil. So when you think about other offers that came in, there were other offers that were like a billion plus. The broker said, "Hey, we don't care about the extra million. That's great. We just can't fall out of contract again." So they picked our team, who they knew they can close. So when we started seeing that, is how do we pivot? How do we change our business plan? And ever since, we strategically just focus on capital raising, especially in this market where it's difficult. So if you're able to help and partner on that sense, like, it's going to open so many doors.
Pause, 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 pause. Those that are listening, those that have been here before, knows I am definitely notorious for always hitting the pause button. Make sure that y'all stop this, rewind it, replay this entire segment all the way back, because this man is dropping nuggets, and I hope that you guys picked up on it. But just to pinpoint just a few of them, the deal was on the market. They couldn't close it. Not DEP, but the person that had it under contract after submitting the LOI, that was going around 15. Was going to trade it at 15, couldn't do it. Came back at like 14.5, couldn't do it. Now, off of relationships that the operators had, they were able to negotiate and bring it down to 13 million. That is crazy. It's unheard of. That's an entire $1 million off just based off of relationships. For those that are out there listening, for those that have not yet picked up on this, relationships are key. I teach this, I preach this, I live this, I breathe this all day long. In the very beginning, when I got started, I thought it was a me, I kind of situation with real estate. That is not the case. Real estate is a team sport. You heard it from this team. They got $1 million off on the deal. And hats off to you guys for getting that deal across the finish line, bro. I'm proud of y'all.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And no, I just want to echo what you mentioned, just relationships. So, from when I first started kind of seeing real estate, it was all I. And I always give this analogy. It was like boxing, right? It's you against another opponent, and you're just trying to get the best deal, the best contractors, the most return. So it's always a fight. Um, when you start taking a look at it from an actual team perspective, or in this case, a football team, everyone plays their own role. There's different people that join together for a common cause. They partner together, and they can just go much further. You don't have to do everything. Your partner helps in what you lack in, right? And you bring your strengths forward. So Nate's a perfect example. He's, for anyone that's looking to partner with Nate and with Cole, in our partnership, they just provided so much value, and that's where we kind of came from. So I remember the first conversation that we've had, it was how do I help you guys? And in my head, I'm like, that's why I'm on this call, to see how I can help you guys. So that's when I knew that we needed to partner together and do something.
Bro. You didn't have to look. You're invited to this stage. You didn't have to give us a shout out sitting here in Forge and Fire, but I appreciate that, man. The kind words resonate and mean the world to us, bro. It's been an amazing partnership. I'm excited to continue to move forward. For those that may be tuning in just now, again, this is part 2 of a 3-part series. This is DEP that we're talking to. Eddie specifically today. We've closed 54 doors with these guys to date. Not the end of the road, though. We're just getting started. So let me ask you this one then, brother. Speaking of that, what does it look like now for you? Speak personally and then team-based for 2025 and beyond. What kind of goals have you set for yourself? What kind of future outlook? Man, bring me into your world for a second.
Yeah, definitely. Great question. I actually had huge on just the planning, and I think this year is going to be a great year. So we had a internal meeting, DEP meeting, to define our goals. We had a meeting with some local folks here in Chicago, trying to figure out how do we best help each other and partner together. So we had another kind of yearly goal conversation there, and then the most important, had a kind of vision board slash 2025 outlook slash going into the future, how's everything going to look like with my fiance. So bringing in the business with the personal, and wanting to marry both and see all of us successful. So I'm huge on just being able to come together. Where have we failed? What have we learned? How do we take that and kind of continue on and keep just building? So personally, the goal is to create a massive just network here in Chicago. So have monthly meetups, have monthly webinars as well, meet with the team weekly every Saturday morning. We go to different coffee shops and we just talk shop. We help each other as far as our different businesses. And these are people in different phases of real estate, residential, wholesaling, private money lending, multifamily. How do we all kind of come together, join forces, and then kind of just spread the word? And then just looking to acquire as much real estate as possible. Here personally, getting into larger assets as well, so I can, at least travel to and kind of exercise the asset management muscle. Um, there's a few other things in the works that I won't mention now, but this is more like 2025, right? Personally, with my fiance is, how do we generate wealth? How do we start the process now for our legacy, for our children, that we haven't had yet. We're both of Mexican um, backgrounds, and we want to have a huge family. So how do we start preparing now, and then being able to teach them a lot of what I wasn't taught? Not to say that my parents were failed or didn't want me to succeed, but they only taught me what they were taught or what they knew. So how do I acquire as much knowledge and skills so I can pay forward to my family and just continue just building from there? So a lot of growth, a lot of different avenues. Um, we're also personally, along with DEP, and I'll kind of make that segue, is launching a platform for real estate professionals next month, that they can use as a CRM build a lot of automation, streamline a lot of their processes, condense a lot of different systems just so it's in-house. And whatever you need, you go to this one system and you can track pretty much everything. Any deals, any potential investors, track, you have your website, you have your calendar, anyone that books time with you, everything's all integrated. It's in one place. You don't have to pay anyone else. 10 bucks here, 20 here, 200 there, all in one tool platform. So working on that, which is exciting, and bridging the gap into DEP is continuing on with kind of another branch of arm of DEP. We have the tech side. We have our webinar. Thank you, Nate, for plugging that in later tonight with Frank discussing underwriting, how to find the right deal, when to know when you're wasting time on a deal, right? Stop trying to pencil it. Stop trying to make it work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Sharing his best practices for underwriting. And then he has a tool that he's been working on personally that's going to help people kind of just shortcut a lot of time in underwriting. So we have that arm, that branch of DEP. And for us is really for this year, we didn't want to focus on number of doors. We wanted to focus on number of opportunities and deals. So for this year, we're looking at 4 specific deals, 1 every quarter. And the reason why we're not focused on doors is because we want to find and get into the right deals. It's not a door count. We don't need to get into 1,000 doors this year. We don't need to get into 10 deals. We want to get into 4, but 4 right deals. So it's not a numbers game. It's more of a returns based kind of approach. And then also start taking a look at other asset classes. So the market right now is a little wonky. We're always kind of forward looking, and we want to see, hey, what is that asset class that a year or 2 years from now, or that just that change in that market cycle that's going to just kind of kick off. So how do we kind of anticipate that, and how do we get there before everyone else gets there?
Holy cow, brother. I love everything about this. And it
dropped a lot.
I mean, it was a mic drop, total mic drop. And it's amazing and it's impressive to be able to see. And we kind of touched on it earlier, but the biggest takeaway is that now DEP is becoming that like one-stop shop kind of hub where you guys are educational based, where you're trying to assist by doing your weekly meetups on Saturdays for folks to be able to be that focal point to say, hey, let's just come talk shop. Let's just have a good time. Or creating a platform through tech to be able to say, hey, doesn't matter what your outlook or where your background is from, all walks of life, whether you're wholesaling, or fixing, flipping, doesn't matter. We're putting a program together that will be able to have everything integrated all into one. Love that, by the way. Like, so, I mean, and then of course, hats off to you and the fiance. Congrats on the engagement. That is huge. I'm very excited to be able to see how everything sort of transpires through 2025. My hat's off to you, always and forever, brother. We're always here if you need us. But this is the point in the show where we give you that surprise.
Uh-oh.
I think you're ready for it. What we're doing now is we're jumping into what we call the fire round. All right. So the long and the short of this is I'm going to rapidly throw out some questions, and I want you to answer as succinctly or go as in depth as you would like to into them. But I want the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but excited.
Okay. All right.
I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay. So question number 1, what separates the top performing entrepreneurs from the rest of the crowd?
Discipline and mindset.
What is a daily habit that's contributed to your success?
Oh, daily habit. I think waking up early and being calendar focused, scheduling out how my day is going to look like and how my week is going to look like, and being a little selfish with my time. So what I mean by that is I'm just not kind of offering my time to everyone, right? I protect my calendar. I don't like things to move. I don't like things to people to throw last minute meetings on it. all right, let's schedule that ahead of time. If I can help provide value or it's a good business opportunity, then let's get it on the books.
So many nuggets. Oh my gosh. We'd have a whole nother episode on time blocking and being able to understand the importance of being able to say no to things that don't move the needle forward. So we can get into that on another episode. My gosh, so good. All right, next question. What's a piece of advice that you would give yourself if you had to start over again?
Man, that's a good question. If I had to start over again, is focus on focus on partnerships, focus on networking. I had always been the type of person that was kind of heads down, do what I need to do, excel in it, come back and say, hey, this is what I've done, you know, and get just kind of help the common go. So that's how I kind of viewed my role in previous jobs or other companies. Um, but a lot of what I missed was the collaboration, the kind of trial and error, and then getting people's input. For me, it's all right. I can move quickly, but sometimes, and I've learned this through my career is you need to get buy-in from people, and you can't be on the same page if they didn't start with you, or they don't really know you, or you don't collaborate, or you don't even associate with them. You're just kind of coming in, bringing this, and then you're back out. And I was really just focused on work. So now it's more of the managing, more of the collaborating, more of how do we work together, even if it takes an hour. I could do so much in an hour, right? Um, but even if it takes 4 hours and we're still in step one, at least we kind of went, we cross our T's out of our I's. So I would say focus on partnerships, focus on relationships, focus on networking.
Love it. Love it. Love it. What is your favorite business book?
Oh man, I have to look back here. I'm gonna say buy back your time. I think that was a big one for me. Understanding how to block off your time, understanding what you do well, um, offsourcing or delegating what it drives minimal dollars and that you don't enjoy, and again, being selfish with your calendar, with your time. I know that there was a passage in the book where he said that he would call his, or I believe he might have mentioned it on Dan Martell in one of his videos, saying that he would call his students and say, hey, or text them and say, hey, can I get a quick 10, 15 minutes, or can we schedule a call today, at this time, or what time are you available? So all the people that move their things around to jump on a call with Dan, they ultimately failed. And that was him testing them. It was, you need to protect your time. You schedule it out. Whatever you have for your day, that's what it is, right? So the people that said, hey, today I'm booked. Let's look forward the next couple of days or next week. Um, they were practicing what he was preaching.
So good. I love it. What's your favorite part about owning a business?
Oh man, I think it's, it's a lot. Um, I'll say I can think of a few top things here. The first one is something that you call your own. Me going through, that experience of being laid off. I know that in this business, I own it. I'm not getting laid off. The other thing, second point is, um, you got to put in the work. So you're only going to get back what you put in. And for me, I've always pushed, always wanted to excel. And if I'm being honest, there had been a few times in just current roles, previous companies that I provided so much and delivered on so much, I just didn't feel like I was getting my cut or what I deserved to get paid. Here, it's whatever I put out, whatever I deliver, I'm getting paid on. So the sky's the limit. And the last thing is, um, third thing that I love about being a business owner and running a business is, um, and I hope a lot of people feel this way as well. If not, you're in the wrong business. Is that you gotta absolutely love what you're doing. So if you're thinking about running, having a business, running a business, just do something that you love. So when I have to work long days, long nights, get up before the sun is and stay working, you know, hours after it goes down, it doesn't feel like work. I enjoy it.
So deep. Oh man, I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell me this one. What is something new that you've implemented that helps drive the success of DEP?
Great question. Um, a lot of it is more on the systems side, um, building different automation. So also have a VA helping with social media. So I'd say one thing that helping kind of implement and leading ultimately is conversation with our VA and ensuring that she understands what our goals are. So we have a daily scrum or a daily meeting, every morning, and we talk through what she's accomplished and what is next on the priority list. So that's kind of like my project management skill set and mindset coming into DEP, ensuring that we're focused on the high priority items, and then from there, a lot of social media, a lot of tracking engagement. So I want to know how well we're doing as far as metrics go. So she's also she's capturing that, so we can look back, week over week or post over post. We want to see how quickly we're growing. We want to see what's working, what's not working, and then a lot of automation as well for incoming investors. More of a kind of lead, evergreen lead nurturing process. So before we even get on a call, anyone that kind of comes in into our database, um, they understand who we are, what we do, and why we do it. So by the time we jump on a call, they know who we are. They know why we're doing it. They know what we're focused on. So that cuts a lot of meetings. That cuts a lot of times that we're kind of going back and forth, coordinating for calls. So all of that is through actually the system that I'm building. So I think that's huge because I see a lot of people jumping on calls, outbound calls. What's your calendar? How does it look like this week or next week? And for me, it's not to say that that isn't important to me, or that I don't want to meet you or just a specific purpose. It's how do we use that time to kind of partner and actually get to that end goal, right? All that time and effort, we can place it somewhere else. Let's streamline this process. Here's a calendar, book the time. You know everything that you need to know about us, at least at a high level. Let's get into the weeds of things.
Oh man, I love it. Okay, so you have survived the fire round. That wasn't too bad, was it?
No, it was fun.
It was fun. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. All right, dude, you have taken us all the way back in your journey through childhood and what it was like learning the demo side of things, working with your family, having that mindset shift, and then trying to get into commercial, succeeding and thriving into commercial, closing a large deal with a team through Texas, continuing to push through. Man, I just want to say thank you so much for letting us into your world, opening up, as one of my mentors calls it, opening up the kimono, being a little bit more vulnerable, letting us know, some of the trials, some of the struggles, some of the tribulations that you've been through, man. This has been amazing. I just have two final questions for you, if that's okay for you.
Definitely.
Uh,
Shoot.
Number one, do you have any other final advice that you want to give to our listeners out there Number 2 is just going to be, where can people find you? I'm sure our audience wants to connect with you, so please don't leave everybody in suspense. So, floor is
Yes,
yours.
yes, definitely. So, um, take, and I mentioned this earlier. You can either take a look at the glass half full or half empty. Um, just there are no obstacles. There are only opportunities. There are no losses. There are only learning lessons. So it's always having that kind of mindset change. And I'll mention that one of the things, well, actually, one of the books that just really hit me was, and here I actually have it somewhere here, but yeah, I can't seem to find it. I think I probably lent it, but really on mindset and just pushing through discipline, right? Motivation runs out. You got to stay disciplined. So that's going to be the first piece. The second piece is finding the right people, partnering with the right people. So um, just don't kind of force something. Things will ultimately kind of work out. Listen to your gut. When you get that feeling, that's just a subconscious telling you something, right? Don't ever uh, not listen to it. There have been handful of times when I've ignored that and I got myself into a world of trouble. So always listen to your inner instincts and your gut feeling. And perfect example of that is us and the 54 unit in North Carolina. It was an honor, privilege, and thankful for the opportunity to join you, Cole, the rest of the team. And as I mentioned, it's been nothing but just blessings, collaborating, working together, understanding more about you guys and running the business. We already kind of knew all of this, but it's different when you're actually in partnership together. So it's been a blessing. Is
Thank you, man. Again, you don't have to come on here trying to butter me up, bro. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege working with you and the entire team. It's phenomenal. Like I said, I'm looking forward to closing a bunch more. This has been a wild ride going to end off 2024, and now we're just kicking off 2025 with a lot of great things coming ahead. But please let us know, where can we find you, bro?
Yeah, definitely. So you can find me on all major social media platforms. We have. I'm gonna redo that because I missed the the armrest there. um, It's gonna be in the bloopers. Um, Great question. You can find me on all major social media platforms. You can find me on LinkedIn, Eddie_Esparza1. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Eddie Esparza. We also have a brand new YouTube channel, so we're kicking off, a podcast of our own. Still waiting to have you, Nate. So we gotta have you, man.
Hey, I
And
appreciate that. Thank you. I'm on the way, brother. I'm looking forward to it.
definitely, and that's under Diversified Equity Partners. So that's where you guys can find me. Feel free to reach out, um, send me a message, any questions, any way that I can help. Just feel free to always reach out and in your preferred method.
Beautiful. Eddie, it's been phenomenal, brother. I loved this interview. I'm super excited for it to air, man. And this is just part 2. And so once we get all 3 of you all together, man, I know everybody out there is going to go wild. So for those that are listening, get home safe. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for hanging with us in Forge and Fire. Make sure, again, that you like, subscribe, hit that bell so that way any new episodes drop, you'll be the first to know. Without further ado, y'all, take care, and we will see y'all on the next episode of Forge and Fire. Peace.